I'd be lying to myself and I'd be lying to all you guys if I wasn't being demanding with my expectations for our game Monday night, because outside of our form against Wolves recently, which has been kind of weird, if we're not thrashing Wolves, we're getting beat by them. Last season, we lost 4-2 at home, courtesy of a hat-trick score by Cunha. And earlier this season, we smacked them 6-2. Last 6 games have been weird. We won twice, but Wolves have won 3. We've drawn once. And even our last 6 games at home, 2 wins, 1 loss, and 3 draws. Irrespective of history and all that, man, I do not care. We have to win tomorrow. It really is that simple. Look at the table. I don't have to say anything that you guys don't know yourselves. You're seeing the table on screen right now. We saw the result earlier today that Bournemouth secured. This is getting tight, and I guarantee this year, but the final European spots will go right to the very last few games of this season. It's said to be that tight, that close, and that difficult. And my lord, we have to get a win on Monday before we play against City in a game that could be one of the defining games of this season against Man City. I really think it's that serious. I have to express my disappointment in how we've wasted this January window. Yes, it was smart to get Jalaba, but you know what? I just wanted to see some strategic, instant moves made. I think for what we need right now, short-term relief could have been the solution. I've been screaming for Mateta. This experienced target man guy up front could really help the squad because we have many players who can cross this football, yeah? And on top of that, many players here in your Felixes and Kunkus and the host more have profited from having that big focal point up front. You're going to be getting more performance from the guys you already have right now, and we're getting short-term relief. But we haven't secured that yet, and the window's closing in less than 2 weeks' time. You know, we're still on the market for youth this, youth that. It's a bit of a madness, I have to say, and, you know, it's kind of undermining our season because we're dropping too many points right now. And if we do it again against Wolves, we start to panic. I really believe that. But my friends, we have to respect Wolves because right now we have to respect every team we're set to play against. 3 key players to watch out for. Naturally, you start things by discussing one of the most improved players in this entire league, and that's Matheus Cunha. Now, at the moment, it was revealed that he has illness at the moment, but I'd be very surprised if he wasn't set to play against us on Monday because, yeah, this guy is the definition of someone that single-handedly wins you points. I mean, 10 goals, 4 assists, and he's got 6 Man of the Match awards this season. He's testament to the fact that development is not linear, and he was someone that always needed the game time to improve as time went on. And look at him now. Pace, power, execution, dribbling intent. You know, he can steam past anyone. He can create things and danger out from nothing. He's like a one-man army counter-attacking threat. And he bagged a hat-trick against us last season. That was the early signs that there's big upside to this guy's game in the future. And I think on Monday, we're going to have to be very careful because this Wolves team, they're kind of weird. Offensively, the guys have been pretty decent, but it's outside of that. That's where they fall apart. So watch out for Matheus Cunha. The next player to watch out for is the pretty interesting forward in Strand Larsen. He's taken to the Prem okay, coming from Celta Vigo. Of course, there's games where he's not being as clinical. He's missing some sitters. But he's got a decent amount of goals, 9 in 20 appearances with 2 assists, and super tall, offers a direct threat. He loves that physical contact. He likes finding contact against his opponent because he trusts himself and his physicality. He's quite decent aerially as well too. And recently, these types of forwards in our last few games, they've been causing us issues. Now, they're not getting tons of chances throughout the game, but they're on the end of the decisive moments. So we need to watch out for him. And I think we'll need some aerial height against Wolves. And for the final player, I'll probably say Aït-Nouri. Aït-Nouri, 3 goals, 5 assists. He's a technical player. You know, he loves to attack the byline. Some great overlaps. The timing of his runs outside and the flanks. He's someone that can offer a decent threat against us, especially if we're not careful, and on the counter-attack. But equally at the same time, he's someone that has been tiring out quite a lot, which is the common thing with most Wolves players this season. And at times, if you really isolate him 1v1, you know, he is susceptible to telegraphing his tackle and getting skip past. But outside of that, if you're not pinning him back enough, then he has the quality to surprise you with his offensive threat in the final third. So these are the 3 men to watch out for. And honestly, man, we need to get the win any way we can. I need to see Maresca really manage the squad, preempt that they're going to fade away past the 60th minute mark. Have a different plan for that, yeah? Let's play smart. I'm tired of seeing all this youthful, gung-ho football where every time we're on the ball, it has to lead to a shot, it has to lead to stat padding, because for 70% of all the games we're playing in recently in our, recent loss of form, we've been the better team, but we are not managing and controlling those 30%. And that is what is costing us at the moment. So my friends, hope you guys enjoy. Hit that like button. Let's get over 1,500 likes. And let's get straight into tackling today's preview. We start with team news. And boy, are we already at a disadvantage. Probably don't expect to see Cole Palmer, who has an ankle issue, Enzo Fernandez, Romeo Lavia for precautionary reasons, and Levi Colwill as well too. So it's quite clear that a lot of men are running on MC recently, and fatigue is creeping in, and these little small niggling issues and injuries are coming through right now. It's not good enough, and it's a shame that we still haven't really addressed the needs of the squad outside of Jalaba being recalled back on loan. So that's the team news out the way, and now we tackle the press conference. Is Reece James going to play tomorrow? Maresca was pretty cautious with his response, obviously using his brain. Reece James played 45 minutes, but he needs to slowly rehabilitate him back into the demands of the Premier League. I have to say though, in that 2-2 draw against Bournemouth, I've been saying this for a goddamn long time, but I've been waiting to see Reece James being tested out as the inverted option for once, and he did not disappoint me. My captain did not disappoint me, and I feel like he will be a key weapon for us second half of the season, providing he maintains his fitness. Because one thing with Reece James, outside of consistently knowing that he'll break down, is that his world-class ability remains ever more consistent, and this is someone this team desperately needs on a regular basis. Enzo gave his thoughts on Jalaba being recalled. As he said, he had to come back due to the current injuries in the team, and second of all, we know that he can help. I've spoken to him, and it's nice to see him with a smile on his face. He's happy to be back, and he's happy to help with the team. We could have avoided this situation a lot sooner if we maintained this guy, considering that he played 2 years in midfield for Lorient. He played excellently as that wide centre-back for Tuchel. He's played across the back line as well. And we know that Maresca is all about these multi-purpose players. So it was absolute cap from the start when Jalaba was forced out, because again, this is another option that can invert in midfield for us, which is going to be helpful and is going to be key. And I'm hoping that we see that. And could we be seeing that tomorrow? Are we going to see Jalaba start? That is the interesting thing. But anyway, happy for the guy, man. I always think the top teams, every team that's won something, they've always had a player in their squad, a homegrown talent that you always rely upon in their squad that helps. And you don't dismiss them. You don't reduce them to finances. I think it's poor sometimes, and sometimes this is why some of us in the fan base, we have these worries with our directors prioritizing the business and the future too much over what is needed right now. For God's sake, Jalaba should have remained, and I'm going to keep remaining adamant that Conor Gallagher, it was ridiculous to let someone like this go. Don't even get me started on that. Anyway, my guys, let's move on. And for the next segment, Maresca reveals what he's content with and what he isn't. As he kind of jokes around, January's been a disaster. Results haven't been going our way, even though he's been happy with the performances that we've been seeing. He's consistently said, don't expect a title challenge. I think he's been proven absolutely right around that. But I think for myself, Maresca's using this season to implement his phase one ideas, and then hopefully we can end the season on phase two, and there'll be incremental improvements. But ultimately, is the squad really conducted in his image? It's not really feeling like that at all. And I do feel like the directors have slightly undermined the full capacity of his management at times, especially during this difficult moment for us that we're facing. But as I keep saying, I think 70% of these games have been the better team. We're not controlling the final 30%. We absolutely destroyed Bournemouth in the first half, but when you don't punish teams and you're on top in this country, coaches, the standard right now is so high and so good that these managers know instantly, half-time team talk, you're doing this, you're doing that, we're correcting this, we're improving that, and you're facing a different team. But what makes things even worse now is that teams, since Brentford, I've been saying this, they've sussed out on clocks that we run out of steam past the 60th to 70th minute. I think a lot of that comes from our youthful inexperience. I've been saying this recently, but it just feels like when we need control at times, listen, the manager could help, I get it, but then at the same time, you're turning towards players like Felix and Nkunku who aren't offering you that type of control, right? Let's keep things honest with that. But you're giving these teams hope and life when you don't kill the game off. I think it's hard to coach out the youthful sides in their mentality like this. I can only hope the players now, if there's a leader on the field, like a Reece James, who was in the middle then, calling for the ball, moving players up, they're the type of personalities that you need to manage situations, because winning games in this country isn't just playing 10 out of 10 and then you rightfully get your results. A lot of times you got to use this for the little small details. So it was interesting that Maresca basically confirmed what I've been saying recently, in the sense that, this team, they always want to push for the next goal. And you can't always do that because teams are smart in this country and they'll use that against you. And he revealed this point when he mentioned that when we play away from home and teams sit back a little bit, we're more calmer on the ball, but when the team is playing in front of the fans, they want to impress the fans so badly. They want to gas moments. They want to keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And you see great halves, but it's not sustainable. And for me, this is the big, instant, quick fix thing I need to see right now if you have any hopes for anything this season. So they're the key points from the presser. And now let's tackle the predictor lineup. And the predictor lineup is a very, very hard to predict. It's a weird one because, we have a lot of temporary midfield solutions we can turn towards. You're looking at Carney, Cassidy, even Ronaldo Vega. But it seems like a lot of these men are going to get moved on in this window. So in a moment where they could have been helpful, you're not using them. Case in point, even Kiernan Dewsbury Hall. Could he get a surprise start tomorrow? Maybe, but it's always really hard to really ascertain what's going to happen. So here's my lineup. I'm not feeling that confident with things. I'm going to keep things real with you. And I'm curious to see what your lineups are saying, but I don't know. This is the lineup I'm guessing we might see. Obviously, Nico up front. In behind, Neto, Nkunku, Felix, Madueke, Moises Caicedo, defense of Cucurella, Tosin, Achimpong, Trevor Chalobah, and Sanchez in goal. Now, let me explain my thinking. A few times in these cup games, recently against Morecambe, we did see Maresca more inclined to use Felix and Nkunku together. And it did require one of the fullbacks inverting in midfields to support Moises or whoever the sitting midfield player was. And I feel like because, if you're missing out on your Enzos and Palmers and Colwells and defenders like this, maybe that's forcing us to have to use what we have for once. And the best way to utilize that, if you're going to have Felix and Nkunku in the pockets here, you need to have an inverted option sitting alongside. And I do feel like this is where Trevor Chalobah could make sense. And I say this because I feel like I need to see the balance at the back. Cucurella, the left foot. He doesn't have to do his underlapping stuff now. Not when you have maybe, Nkunku and Felix in the pockets now. Sit deeper. Tosin central. Achimpong playing as the wide centre-back. That will be really helpful. And Trevor Chalobah, the guy can play this role. I have no doubts around this whatsoever. He'll provide a bit of height when he's tucking inside. He can underlap. He can overlap when he has to, and he plays forwards. And he offers that aerial threat, which, we could do a little bit more of as well. So I do feel like this is what I'd want to see, especially if it's going to accommodate this attack. And I think against Wolves, we have to try and get the win and then try and control things near the end. Expect Reece James to come on and your Gustos. Dewsbury Halls, maybe, if Maresca hasn't forgotten about this guy already. But again, to finish my predicted lineup, the reason why I went for Neto over Sancho is that not only is he playing against his former club, but if Cucurella isn't going to be the one who's inverting and underlapping as much, I need someone who's more out-and-out outlet down that left side to bring that balance right, who can take the wing-back of Wolves right to the byline and put in a cross, and obviously free up the spaces in the pockets for your Nkunkus or your Felixes to operate in. Listen, pressing off the ball, I'm a little bit concerned, but equally at the same time, a lot of these guys, they're not duds, they're not crap players, even though some of them are losing their appeal within the squad in the hierarchy. Nkunku's a top player, Felix is a top player, these guys are top players, and you know, these are the moments when you have issues and injuries going against you. They have to show what they're about, but if they're going to show what they're about, they have to be using the most optimum way to get the best out of their game. And this could, in fact, bring a bit of a different, unique threat that Wolves don't really have much to think about. And I really think if you have maybe Nkunku and Felix in those pockets, that's going to give something for those Wolves wingbacks to think about in terms of, okay, just how adventurous are we feeling to really bomb up and down that field here? Because we'll get caught out. We'll get punished. And I don't know, it's a very different lineup. But for me, I feel like this would make sense. And if we're playing the right way, hopefully second half, we can kind of do something different as well. So my friends, anything's now my prediction for the game. And as I said, we have to win. I do not care about form or nothing. We have to win. They are my demands. I don't care about the lineup or excuses or nothing. We have to win. We have the quality. We should be playing smarter, and we need to get those 3 points. So I'm going to be going for a 2-1 win our way. I just feel like it'll be like one of those tight games, and that's what I'm going with. So my friends, hope you guys enjoyed. Share your thoughts and opinions on this preview, and yeah, I'll catch you guys soon. And tomorrow I'll be doing a big stream, and I'm looking to reintroduce the call-in show as well, so we can have a conversation about what's going on. So see you guys tomorrow. Cool.